Good morning. Uh, I'm waiting days to talk here because I was uploading 7 videos. It was taking forever with my shit equipment. Anyway, and a few things I've noticed and thought about and wanted to talk about. One of which, or most of all of it, is just our political system. I don't know if I'll be allowed to. I'm sure I can because I'm not going to talk about anything related to right now, the situation, the bullshit, cold. Um, just our government in general. The very definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. So when I talk to people, or do most of these videos or whatever, I assume I'm talking to insane people all the time. The more you think voting and our political system and all that is good and you're going to vote for the right guy this time and it's going to change everything and blah blah all that stuff, the more insane you are. That proves to me that you are a crazy person and I have to deal with them as such. And I'm going to assume that if you're watching these videos, you're not. You wouldn't be watching it either. Even if you're people who are totally against the flat earth thing, chances are if you're out looking for that argument and trying to see it's the more intelligent of us that are going to look at that argument either way, let's say. A lot of the less intelligent, like just the voting mass kind of normals, aren't even going to ever Google search those words or anything even close to that kind of stuff. They're never even going to look at it. I seen a basketball guy on Jimmy Kimmel talking about flat earth, and he said he came out as a flat earther and got ridiculed to the point that he had to like renege, apologize or whatever, basically, because he's owned by them, right? When you get a birth certificate, you're owned by your government. You're never free. You're not free. You never were free. You were born free, and then immediately your parents signed you over, and you weren't free anymore. None of us. We're possessions. That birth certificate number, that's like your serial number. And then when you get your social insurance number, that's like your credit score, basically, if you wanted to look at it like that. But but it's not your credit score. It's more of your serial number, but it's your worth in there too. It's also your price tag. There you go. That's what it is. It's your price tag. And so they can say, okay, the social insurance number, okay, how many jobs have they had? What did they do? Okay, they're worth this much. Price tag. Who is it? Serial number. Birth certificate. You're owned. You get licenses and shit like that too. Those are just other numbers to just further show their ownership of you. So, if you think that there's any kind of chance within this system to fix it, you're insane. We could fix the system, right? It would be like a mutiny, is what we would have to do. They would call it an insurrection or some shit, I'm sure. But it's a mutiny, is what it would be, basically. I don't know what other word you'd have for it. But get the tyrants out of position, first off, right away. And then have them all put on like house arrest, every politician in the whole country. And have them all investigated and their immediate family investigated financially and all that, like everything they signed and what they were fighting about and what they argued about or what they didn't argue about in the political arena when they had the chance. And the good ones could be put right back into power, into position, and then actually promoted in, right? And they could be our, well, they know the system a little bit, but they were trying to fix it too, so they would be people that could help us move forward with the new, and then rip her down back to the Constitution or whatever. Make it so that IRS focuses on politicians in an interval every 10 years or something like that. Every politician gets audited, and you make examples of the bad ones. I'd be a good person to lead the initiative, but I'd be a horrible person to decide the fate of these people because I'd be mean. But military prison for life, let's say, that would be something that everybody would agree. Even the most liberal of us would say, okay, no, that's fitting. If you were screwing over all of us, but especially our military men and women, because you're sending them to die for your own profit that you're putting in, and you're taking bribes and doing this and that and endless wars and with their lives, you're just gambling money and juggling them like they were nothing. So it's fitting that you be put into a military situation if you were a bad politician. Like Justin Trudeau, you don't even need an investigation. You could just go look at the billions of dollars that the charity, that we paid billions of dollars into these charities that his brother-in-law and his mother-in-law and his sister or something like that are running, and they spend millions on themselves, taking trips all over the world, flying around, doing whatever the fuck they want. So obviously they're just extorting money, and now he's sly about it, and he's slick, and they got all these little fucking loopholes that they can jump through. But like I said, we're nubbing her down to the Constitution. No more of your loophole little bullshit. No, you did that. There it is. It's all right there. That's just one of the minor things that you've done. You've done all kinds of other things that we could all point to, where you're selling out our country, training Japanese troops to fight in the winter. What the fuck is that about? They'd only have to fight us if they're fighting in our winter, right? So what are you training them for, you douchebag? All kinds of stuff like that. So anyways, you could just say, okay, yeah, no, you're a treasonous scumbag and you need to be dealt with military prison for life. Or take away the citizenship from you and your entire family, including those brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws and mother-in-laws that are extorting all this money out of the Canadian taxpayer. And all of you lose your citizenship and you're out of the country. And if no other country will take you, we'll put you on a boat in international waters, drop you off, and somebody might want you somewhere, go France, whatever. And then, like I said, that would be the example being set to any other politicians going forward. We're not going to tolerate that. Zero tolerance for your tyranny. Especially when it comes to making laws and things like that. And if it's something like the whole country obviously wants, like no mask mandates or something like that, and you go against every one of us, right? Or try to cohort people into thinking a certain way, like with this global warming shit. Even if there is a solution moving forward, and there's a clear one, but you guys would never talk about it because you're corrupt, you're owned, so you're never going to talk about the actual solutions. And there's the real problem with this. Like, we've had water cars and cars that run on urine and everything else for years, like since the 50s. That technology should be absolutely perfect, and Stan Meyer made it almost absolutely perfect himself, and he was killed for it. So We should have free energy. That shouldn't even be a thought to anybody on earth. But how would they keep power over you and over your life and force you to work extraordinary hours to get minor payoff? And then the middle or upper middle class people are thinking, well, it's not minor payoff. I got my house and I go on vacation or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Your house can be taken from you just like that. Your retirement's being squandered away. Nobody has a retirement. Forget about it. If even those of us who are retired right now, your savings and stuff are going and dropping at such an exponential rate that in another 2 years you're going to be homeless. Even if you already own your house outright, you're still, taxman's going to come along and boot your ass out. You're not going to be able to afford the power bill. You won't afford to heat it. You won't afford any of that shit. So they'll boot you out of there, bring you into the city, put you into a little welfare apartment, pay for everything for you, and then you're in a socialist country like Russia eventually, and nobody has anything except for the little tiny bit of people that have everything. And they live lives that you can't even imagine. Even on your vacations and stuff like that, those resorts, that's nothing to what these people are getting to do and see and go through and live life with and whatever, right? Like they have so much, they go insane. Literally. Start raping kids and doing all kinds of crazy, weird shit. Whatever it is. Rituals and satanic shit. You see them in robes and all this weird fucked up Epstein Island fucking weirdo shit. Do you know how many kids go missing every year? Where are these kids going? Epstein was just a small amount of those kids. So fucking small that it's hard to even give him a percent. It'd be like 2% of all of the kids that went missing in those years that he was at his peak. There's so many of them. You can't think of it. You and I, like, we can't even picture that many, how it's fathomable that many kids just disappear. Poof. Every year. Like 80,000 around in some countries. If you took the numbers of the globe or whatever, it'd be hundreds of thousands of people that just go poof. Every fucking year. Poof, they're gone. They're going somewhere. Something's happening to them. They don't actually disappear. That doesn't happen. You know, there's no magic guy that's pulling them out of a fucking hat somewheres. These people are gone. These children are gone. Like, these people go insane because they just have too much. They have so much that life becomes a bore. Because there's... In a poor man's situation, life can become extenuating and pointless because you're pushing for somebody else to be rich. You know, if you actually think about it, you stand back and look, and it's like, fuck, I'm doing all this work to survive, and this guy's not doing anything, and he's getting rich off of everything that I do, or whatever, right? And what's the point, kind of thing. But then to a rich man, you know, you go out and like born rich, especially, and you own the farm, and you own this, and you own that, and everything's done. You don't have to work it. You just hire people and let them do everything, and everything you're catered to and cooked for and brought, and everything's looked after. What's the fucking point? You'd just be bored. After a while, you're going to start wanting to, you're going to get bored of all the women or all this or all that, and you're going to start wanting to sleep with men or whatever. Who knows? Or whatever your ailment is. You get bored of this food and all, like you end up 800 pounds, or you never know. To each their own, right? So I don't know. It's just what the system's rigged against us, and it's rigged against even those that succeed. At some point, you succeed too much, and then you're going to get bored, and then it's rigged against you. See, it is Satan's earth. No matter where you're at, all the natural or the paths that we're herded towards all lead to the same miseries or whatever. Doesn't matter if you're up here, down here, over here. Everybody's going to this funnel. So it doesn't matter where you're at. You're all going to get funneled into this one chute eventually. And that's why married people cheat so much and stuff like that, like in the middle class, because they get this incredible boredom or whatever it is, and this loss of purpose. So they're stuck in this crazy mess of a world that we set up for ourselves. People say, oh, more technology is the answer. Well, in some aspects, yeah, for sure. We do need more technology. And we need different technology. Like I was saying with the water car and the Tesla coils is another real good one. Everybody have a Tesla coil on their house. Screw the solar panels and stuff. That's dirty, filthy, and they're still money grubbing. That's the only reason that they're doing it. They found a way that they can money grub, even though it seems like it's good or whatever. But it breaks down, dirty, and it's dirty to make, and you're ripping the earth apart to make and all that stuff. Where, again, with water cars, they are too. But we could make things last. Our whole system's set up in such a financial way that we don't want to make things that last. Not even people. Not even our medical system is set up to make people fixed altogether better and run smooth. We're set up to keep them going or whatever. But that's it. It's just medicate and cover it up and keep going, right? And our cars are made like to last 10 years. This thing that I'm sitting in is 33 years old. And it wasn't made as well as the cars 20 years before that lasted. They were simple, but they were strong, metal, and they lasted a long time. And if you took care of them really good, they're still on the road, right? And, excuse me, fridges, our stoves, everything like that. Everything's built for a consumer, not with the thought of mankind. It's just the thought of, when I was paving driveways, the company I was working for said, never put the full 3 inches in the driveway, because then we will never be back. We lose a customer. If we can get away with 2, then we'll be back in 5 years, 6 years, or whatever, and we'll have another job. Otherwise, we won't have another job. It'll be 15 years or 20 years, and we won't make it back. So they rip off everybody that they can, unless you're standing right over top of them with your own measuring stick, making sure it's right. Then you're going to get ripped off. And they're purposefully doing it. And we all think that way because we're taught that we're monkeys. So it doesn't matter what you do to each other, 'Cause you're just bugs and monkeys and evolved fucking soup, right? So it doesn't matter. You can piss on everybody, and it doesn't matter. You can beat everybody up, and it doesn't matter. You can get tattoos all over your body, it doesn't matter. You can have sex with 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, it doesn't matter. You do all these things, and it doesn't matter. You're just a bug or whatever, right? But that's just a falsity. We live in this false reality. That's insane. The whole process of it is insane. And we keep thinking, oh, this guy's going to be better. And he keeps being worse. But you keep voting anyway, saying this guy's going to be better. And then he's worse. And around here, in Canada, they don't even fucking say this. No, they vote for the same guy. Jean Chrétien was our prime minister for as long as I can remember. Huh? It's he retired an old man. He was like 90. Old Jean Chrétien, I couldn't even talk. They just kept voting for him and voting for him and voting for him year after year after year. I don't know. It's just a big falsity. At least when we had our monarchy, we admitted that we were owned by the monarchy or whatever and the king, and but you held him to a standard, or you cut his head off. But now we're in this politician thing where you say, oh, we'll vote them out. But the ones that don't get voted for, like fucking Fauci's and whatever, they're just there forever. And they pick the ones that you can vote for. So it's never a fair system or a fair fight. It's never on your side, ever. Except for at the low levels. You can have some low level guys, but the ones that are really good and for you, they're not moving up. They're staying low. They're not getting any news, they're not getting any promotion, they're not getting any noise, nothing. Everybody pushes them aside and nobody will deal with them and all that stuff, and everything that they try to do gets blocked. They don't get any funding, no money, and it makes it look like they're failing their job and failing their constituents, so then they stop getting votes. It's a rigged system. And again, I just told you how it all works with the money, and the money flows in to the ones that they like, and the money comes out from the ones that they don't, and then you don't like them because it looks like they're failing you because they don't have any money. They're not getting any money from the federal levels and from the upper levels and from anywhere. But this guy, who's a puppet of the elite, he'll get you all kinds of little playgrounds and new schools and all this hype. Just because it's nothing, new sidewalks maybe or something, but it's nothing. Nothing that you didn't pay for, certainly, right? Like they steal that money from you, middleman the shit out of it, and give us a little tiny bit of work for it here and there. And then you hear about them, like I was saying, with donating billions of dollars to charities. If we want to donate as Canadians, we will donate. We don't need our tax dollars donated out to charities at all. Zero. You're losing sight of what a politician's supposed to be, or what a government is. That isn't your job. Telling us if we can sell weed or cocaine, prostitution, not your job. Sorry, it's not your job. Now, protecting kids, we ask you to do that. Yeah, sure, right? Maybe keeping the gang violence down, whatever. But that's not done by going after making the drug illegal for everybody. That's done by making the drug accessible through legal means for people. right? Like if you were regulating so that I could say, oh, my coke dealer cut this coke with fentanyl, officer, and then you go and you say, okay, you're not allowed to sell coke anymore. Take away his cell card or whatever. Maybe throw him in jail because it's fentanyl, or you know what I mean? Or if it's all baking soda, officer. Oh, okay, well, you're not allowed to sell coke anymore, buddy. You're a fucking douchebag. You're cutting it too much with junk. People paid big money for this, so go to this guy down the street or whatever. Not that I think people should be doing coke at all, but I mean, we'd get a way better handle on it. And from what I've been told, I've never done it, but the real stuff, without all the speed and the cut and the stomping and the shit in it, isn't that addictive. It's not like the trash that's all over our roads and our streets and into our people and stuff. The opiates and stuff like that. Anyway, there's ways around all these things. Having war against your people is not the way to do it. Same with prostitution. Again, you make it, open up brothels and put security in there and give the girls condoms and fucking things to keep clean, and AIDS tests and shit like that, right? Don't let it get filthy. Yes, it's a dirty fucking thing and we shouldn't do it, blah, 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 it's sinful, blah, 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 whatever. But people are going to do it. And they're not bad people. They're making bad decisions. It's good people making bad choices. But it's not bad people. They still go to work, they love their family, they do all this stuff. Pay their bills, Christmas shop, all that kind of shit. And then they'll go and get some cocaine here and there. And they have to go to this fucking sleazy backyard drug dealer fucking goof that's a criminal, fucking biker or whatever, because you guys make it illegal and make it into this sleazy fucking backyard gross fucking thing to make crime. It wouldn't be crime if you didn't make it into crime. So then it wouldn't be so sleazy and criminal if it wasn't crime. I know it's hard for your brains to wrap around this because you're so fucking brainwashed. You can't look past their little system that they think you need to stay in this, right? And that's why with school and stuff like that, if you didn't fit into the box, they were like, oh, it's a learning disability. You're over here. You got this, you got that, you got this, you got that, you got this, you're wrong, you're dyslexic, you're mylexic, you're trilexic, you're whatever, fucking whatever term they can come up with. But it's never their fault. It's never that they can't teach but to one type of kid, right? It's not a learning disability, it's a teaching inability. It's on the teacher's side. It's not on the kid's side. These are intelligent kids. They're really good in math, science, and all this other stuff, but they can't quite grasp reading. So you say, oh, it's a learning disability, and you shove them in a box that whatever, right? Or vice versa. They're really good at reading and writing and all this stuff, and everything's coming out pretty, but they suck at math. They can't figure it out, and you're like, oh, learning disability, blah, blah, blah. No. You're just not teaching right. Figure out a better way to teach to that person. Anyway, so because of that, though, they can control how you process your thoughts. You're not going to come up with that extra thought. You're always going to stay within the constraints. How do you think the Big Bang caused the universe to start? How do you think the Big Bang happened? How do you think the Big Bang, blah, blah, blah? I don't think the Big Bang. It hasn't happened yet. It's going to be in the future. God's going to come down. Bang! Coughed. That's going to be the word. He's going to fucking judge Israel or something like that. I can't remember how it goes. But that's the Big Bang. Hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen soon. Better prepare for it if you're not. But I don't conform to that way of thinking. there's no logic. I can't learn things that don't have logic. That's why I'm good at math and I'm not good at English. Because English doesn't have logic. That's why I'm trying to learn Hebrew, because Hebrew was a logical language. That's why they took us away from Hebrew, because there was too much logic in the language. And that's why they keep pushing this slang and shit of English, because it keeps getting further and further from logic. Because we were a logical language, but we don't learn it right anymore. And instead of showing us that we're getting stupider, they make tests stupider so that it looks like our scores are the same as our grandparents and our great-grandparents' scores. But they're not. If you took the SAT test from the 60s, your 90 would be like a 50 or a 60. You're not smart. You're not smart like they were. We're not getting better. And our system's making it even worse. Like our DNA is getting weaker, further from the source. But then as our system degrades, and our education and everything degrades, and then we think that we know everything. Well, actually you don't know fuck all. You're living in a fantasy world. Everything you know is a misrepresentation. You don't know anything. It's so, as you start to learn, I can understand on your guys' side, because it's like the opposite of everything that we were taught or whatever, right? So it's mind twisting. And if you were really absorbed in all of their trash and right into the brainwash, man, it could be really hard to break. I'm glad I had a learning disability and wasn't able to track with all their shit, because it would be super hard to come out. It was hard coming out of it for me. I still say the globe and all that kind of shit all the time. All the time. Say things that are so small-minded, right? Space and all these stupid things that aren't realities, but that we just attribute into our language and stuff like that, right? And whether you think words are like spells, magical, or words are like spells because they control the thought process. So if you're using certain words, you can only go down certain paths. That's why the big language war that's going on right now. If you can't